It was a lot bigger than what we originally thought it would be.
I regard them as my families.
As a mom, if I lost one of my kids, I don't know how much I would have left in me for the kid that's remaining.
Nobody can prepare for an incident of this scale.
It was eye-opening to know what nature's truly capable of.
And when the images started coming through in the morning, when I just switched on, I automatically just started, thinking, okay, this is now a 7.6 or 7.8 magnitude earthquake. It hit these areas. Let's see, now it's still the early days or so, but it was always in the back of my mind. Dr. Imtiaz's intuition is always, he said, Ahmed, look, this is going to be a big one. Let's put the teams on standby and let's start our preparations already, And basically around 10 o'clock, I've put out the message to our core search and rescue team, and I just wanted to know who's available already. And at 11:45, we made the decision that Gift of the Givers is going to be responding to Turkey, and then we started doing all the logistical arrangements or so.
In fact, it was quite ironic because myself and Ahmed were at the waterfront on Sunday, having just a meet and greet, and then on Monday morning he calls me to say, he needs people to go to Turkey. There'd been an earthquake. I was not watching the news, so this was a surprise to me. So obviously I said to him, look, we are available, and he must just say how many people he needs from the institution. I will gladly assist with manpower. So we got 4 of our guys, including myself, to go to Turkey. And obviously I think there's mixed emotions. There's that sense of, you want to help people, and at the same time, you think to yourself, well, this is an unstable area, and there is that possibility, obviously, that you may not come back. So I would say there's definitely those mixed emotions that come into play.
It was my first deployment, and normally you have time to pack and figure out, right, I'm going to need this, I'm not going to need that. Yeah, it was just like, right, you're on the plane tonight, you need to go. By the time we were on the plane, we were basically, your mindset was, we're going there to work. That's what we do.
As Gift of the Givers, we've built that kind of capacity. Other international teams, or other teams rather, I'd say, whether it's government or non-governmental organizations, will either respond in terms of only humanitarian aid, only search and rescue, or only medical. But Gift of the Givers have built a capacity over the years where I can proudly say, I don't know if any other organization or country team that responds from an A to a Z service.
You're so eager to get onto the ground and start working and start to set up base camp, and I think that also adds a bit of pressure and almost a time deadline for us that we're really trying to race against, because time equals life.
Yeah, so I think the initial delay was quite frustrating. We drove from Durban to get to Joburg in time to make our flight. So we kind of did low flying to get to Joburg, and then there was a bit of a delay at Joburg, and then we had to back and forth, and the frustration was just building. We literally just wanted to get on the ground and start working. And when we got to Istanbul and there was a big hurry up and wait, it was definitely a bit of frustration. We just wanted to start get work going, and we were quite amped to get it going.
I think it would be in any scenario where you have that red tape, it is a bit frustrating, because you want to get there, you know you can bring relief or you can still rescue people, especially in a time-sensitive rescue like Turkey. You know, every hour delayed is somebody that we could have helped or could have assisted. But at the airport itself, it was just accepting that, you know, all the teams are coming in from different locations. We need to sort of just find our footing, understand where we fit in with the government organizations, what their arrangements are, and making sure that all the kits got through and nothing was damaged.
When Team 1 went, and I know I'd follow 24 hours after that, it would be also nice for the team leaders to have experienced the obstacles. But that's disasters. You're going to get obstacles. Think about it. Everyone wants to leave disaster zones. You're going into a disaster zone. So you're going to have logistics in terms of communications, where you're going to be staying, you know, infrastructure, all of that. So those challenges are going to exist.
So by the time we get to the airport, I was tired of sleeping. I wanted to go and work. And I didn't know where we were going and how far was it. But I keep on asking my partner, where are we going exactly? How far from here? He keep on explaining. From here, we're still gonna take a plane for 2 hours to the other side. From there, we're still gonna take the bus to go to the where the disaster is. So, okay, I thought, no, we'll get there. So we even estimate by the time, saying, by 12 o'clock, we'll be there. So by 12 o'clock passed, we were sitting at the airport waiting for the plane and our staff there. So there was nothing to do. We didn't have a choice.
Always in my mind, aware of the time-sensitive nature of this whole thing, because you just got to imagine what it must be like to be stuck under a building with no food, no water. You're cold, you're hungry, and every minute, every hour, you know, that you're there, like, the chance of living is less and less and less. Turkish Airlines arranged a special flight for the search and rescue teams to make that happen. And if you remember, on that flight, there was that whole team from China that was with us. And they arranged that to get us there. And like I say, that kept the momentum going, and it just kept that quick response like going nicely, and that was amazing. So I was very happy about that.
We're thankful that we have our Gift of the Givers offices in Turkey, and we've got that relationship. So with Dr. Malik being our regional coordinator in the region, and Antakya, also a place that I've traveled before as well. It's good to have the country support, you know, on the one side, but it makes it much more easier on the team leader.
The traffic jam was, should I say, unexpected in a way. I do understand, I knew there were going to be, or I could imagine that there was going to be a lot of equipment being moved to that area. The scale of it and the scale of heavy machinery and equipment that was being moved, I think sort of overwhelmed the road. A long bus trip for a trip which should take about an hour and a half took us 10 hours, but it's expected in those situations.
There was a lot of frustration on the way there because now we're stuck in traffic for like, at the time, I mean, we didn't know it was going to take us 8 hours, and we're talking from Adana to Antakya, it's not even 200 kilometers, and yet it took us 8 hours. In fact, myself and a colleague of mine literally got out of the bus. We walked for, must have been at least 3 kilometers down the road, just to, I think, for our peace of mind, because it was just ridiculous, just moving at a snail's pace.
That 150-kilometer traffic jam was, you know, something I've never seen before in my life. It was so, you know, mind-blowing.
To be honest, while we were traveling in the bus, you could sort of see a few dilapidated buildings, and you get a small idea of the scale of destruction, but it was only really once we got to the epicenter and daylight broke that we really were taken back. Essentially, would stand in one fixed point and turn 360 degrees, and all you can see is complete devastation.
Seeing the first buildings that were compromised was quite scary, to be honest, because you're not even at the earthquake zone, and here you are seeing all these buildings that have been severely compromised. Some have actually fallen, and we're about more than 100 kilometers away from the epicenter of the earthquake. So that was quite, you realize that, this is real now. So, and there's no turning back at this point.
As soon as we got into Antakya, it was just immense. Just the damage to the buildings and everything, the whole city that is totally condemned. I mean, not one building there will ever be occupied again. And I think that was the biggest realization or eye-opener as to know, to actually realize that this is, where we're going to work, and the devastation must be unimaginable, and understanding also what the team is going to face.
When I saw the first building, I was touched. Then I said, God, please, you are our savior. May you please save the lives of your poor people. Give us strength to go in there to search for the life or the bodies, so that the families can have closure.
This is going to be a tough day at the office, And but that's like I say. I mean, the mindset of all of us had all five of us were, what we've been called out to work, and we just want to get there and do our best. Give those people our best. Because the more bodies you find, more people alive you find, you're giving closure to families and stuff like that.
The air around those sites and around that town was just one of absolute sadness and devastation. There was so much loss, so much death, so much hurt and anguish, and it was thick in the air, and you could feel it, So it was really such a surreal, terrible experience, and it broke my heart. My heart was broken for those people.
But getting to Antakya itself and being made aware at face value, the devastation, the mass loss of life, that eerie feeling in the air where there's a sense of urgent need for assistance, but so much loss and trauma experienced by the people.
To see those high-rise buildings condensed into pancake collapses where it's only the height of a 2-story building and previously was either 7-story or 8-story. It really, and to see multiple buildings next door to each other like that, you really get a sense of what's happened and how quickly it happened.
In my mind, I thought, it's like something like Joburg Central or Durban Central that collapsed. But once we took the drive, and it was hours and hours of driving, and as far as you can see, it's just complete destruction. You started to understand the scale of it and the magnitude of the exercise that you're about to undertake.